Hello and welcome back to Young Meets Old. I'm Dan,
I'm Jeff.
and we're on episode 3 of Young Meets Old with Dan.
And Jeff.
You're tuning in.
Now sponsored by Caddy Time.
Caddy time.
For all you golfers out there, if you don't know about Caddy Time, it's an app which you can download from your favorite app store. And it allows people who wouldn't normally be able to access a caddy when playing golf to pick their course, pick the time they're going to play, and hook up with a professional caddy. Have an amazing experience. This happens all the time in Asia, but not so much in Western countries, definitely not in the United States. And so if you're interested in getting a caddy that could improve your game, take pictures while you're playing,
I could be your
and
caddy.
do all kinds of things, you can hook up with a professional caddy. Caddy Time. With that, we have an exciting episode for you today. This is the episode where I hypnotize Dan.
No money was changed hands. Caddy time does not officially support this broadcast. We are not supported by podcast.
Correct. My friend doesn't
Caddy
even
time.
know I'm talking about caddy time. So Dan has expressed an interest in being hypnotized, and so I'm going to attempt to hypnotize him on today's show. I want to speak for just a couple of minutes about hypnosis. There's really two types of hypnosis. There's stage hypnosis, in which magicians and other people bring people on stage and pretend to hypnotize them. I actually watched a Britain's Got Talent, in which the woman brought her dog on stage and claimed that her dog was a hypnotist, and 10 people from the audience and 2 people from the show pretended to be hypnotized. Simon Cowell got up there and did not get hypnotized. We're not going to do stage hypnosis. It's really fake. It's just based on the power of suggestion. What we're going to do is what's called clinical hypnosis. I'm going to take some time
Clinical?
and try to put Dan into a hypnotic state.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, then
Do you have a contract?
I was going to say, I do have a waiver I need you to sign. Where is that waiver? Yes. And so for a few minutes, I'm going to hypnotize him, and then we're going to do the Stanford Hypnotic Susceptibility Scale, modified version, to see how hypnotized he is.
I'm starting to believe that maybe Jeff can hypnotize people, and
Well,
that's more scary than I didn't believe that you could do. Maybe you can do it.
I know what I'm doing.
But what if I can't be hypnotized?
Well, then the show's going to suck.
Oh shit! So
So-
I should pretend? Should I just?
No, I don't want you to pretend.
Okay.
But what I do want you to do is first take the Spiegel eye roll susceptibility test. So what Dan is going to do is he's going to look directly into.
I'm just warming up. Quite frankly, I'm warming up. I gotta warm up. The numbers.
He's also had a coffee. I don't
had a
recommend
coffee.
drinking
I
a
love
huge
Coffees
cup
are
of
amazing. They're
percolated
fantastic.
coffee.
I asked for a coffee. It was the best coffee I ever had.
Before being hypnotized. But this is going to be the best hypnotic session
This
ever.
podcast does not support Trump. We are not official Trump supporters.
In fact, we're quite the opposite. So the first thing that Dan's going to do is he's going to stare into the camera on the screen. You're going to straighten up, posture.
Straighten up and
okay.
Yep. I'm being moved.
Look into
into
the
my
camera,
eyes. Don't look
and
around.
I want you to first look at the camera dot, and then I want you to calmly, slowly roll your eyes to as high as you can. Okay, so this test is based on the amount of white that you can see. He didn't do so well at the restaurant. He is doing well. So I would say you are going to be susceptible to hypnosis. I know this doesn't sound right, but the more white that you can see in your eye, you'll notice I can't see any, barely any. So I'm not very susceptible, but luckily I'm not being hypnotized. Dan is. And with that, we are going to launch into. Do you have any questions? Do you have any fears?
What are you going to make me do?
I'm not going to make you do anything. I'm going to, again, go to Stanford University. So you don't have to close your eyes and you don't have to relax. But what you do need to do is scooch back a little bit and a little bit more, right off the edge of the cliff. So the way that this test is administered is first I'm going to attempt to put him into a hypnotic trance. And to do that, I actually need you to extend your right arm out in front of you. You're not going to close your eyes. You're going to watch your hand. And now we're going to start. I just want you to relax. When your hand hits the table, which it will at some point, just let it relax into your lap or your knee like your other hand. So I just want you to look at your hand. I want you to just breathe normally and deeply. And I just want you to listen to the sound of my voice. And And as you listen to the sound of my voice, and as your hand and arm become heavier and heavier, which they will over time, don't fight it. Just allow your hand to drop. As it becomes tired, continue to gaze at your hand. Continue to listen to my voice. Tune out everything else in the room. Eventually, your arm and your hand are going to relax onto your leg. Your eyes will begin to close, and that's fine. You can let your eyes close when it feels comfortable. But the key here is just to listen to the sound of my voice. Take nice, even, deep breaths. Just let yourself relax. You're going to find that as I continue to talk, you become more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable. Don't worry about anything. You might want to just picture yourself as you're laying down in bed, as you're falling asleep. You're just going to listen to the sound of my voice, and eventually we're going to just go into a nice, deep state. You're not going to be asleep. You're going to be in a nice, what we call, hypnotic state. And the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to continue to talk you down. You're going to become more and more relaxed. You're listening to the sound of my voice. You're tuning out everything else. You're in a nice, comfortable space. You're going to go deeper and deeper. You might feel your body relaxing from your toes up, from your shoulders down. Everything is becoming more and more relaxed. You're becoming more and more comfortable. Don't worry about laughing. Don't worry about fighting the urge to become hypnotized. It's fine. This process will take a couple of minutes. Just listen to the sound of my voice. Let it speak deep to your subconscious. Allow yourself to relax. Continue to breathe evenly. Allow yourself to become more and more comfortable. You can feel the energy, the tension, any anxiety flowing out of your body with each breath. You're becoming more and more relaxed. You're becoming more and more comfortable. My voice is making you more and more relaxed. Tune out everything else in the room. You're going to go deeper and deeper, just like when you fall asleep at night, but you won't fall asleep. You'll be continuing to hear my voice and becoming more and more relaxed and more comfortable. And with each of my words, you'll become more and more in a comfortable state, in a relaxed state, letting go of your filters, letting go of your conscious thought, allowing me to speak to your subconscious thought. It might become more like a dream state, and that's fine. You'll just become more and more comfortable. In just a minute, I'm going to count down from 20 to 1. And when we get to 1, you're going to be in this hypnotic state. It's not going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to feel any differently, except you'll be extremely relaxed. And you'll be able to answer questions and listen to the things that I'll ask you, and you'll be comfortable doing them, no problem. So now we're going to count down. 20. Becoming more and more relaxed. Your breathing is very fluid and very even and very deep. 19. Going further and further down as though you're sinking into a hammock. More and more comfortable. 18. 17. You're going down further and further, becoming more and more relaxed. 16. Going down further and further. 15, becoming more and more comfortable. You're going down, sinking down into a dreamlike state. 14, 13, really going down. 12, 11, more and more comfortable. 10, and now you'll go into the deepest state of a hypnotic trance. Everything is comfortable. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, more and more relaxed. 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're in a very deep hypnotic state. You can hear everything that I say. You're very relaxed. You're going to appreciate being in this state. You're very comfortable. And now we're going to do some exercises in this state. The first thing I want you to do, I'm going to count down again from 5 to 0. And as I count down, I want you to have a dream when I reach 0. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to have a dream, and then I'll count back up again. And I want you to tell me if you had a dream, and if so, what was that dream about? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dream.
Playing music.
You're having a dream? You're playing music? What kind of music?
Jazz.
Where are you playing this music?
Live. It's always live.
Do you recognize the venue that you're playing?
Camellia.
You're at Camellia, where you also play music. Does this feel like a dream, or does it feel like you're actually there and thinking of when you played before?
Same.
It feels the same. Is it enjoyable?
Yeah.
You didn't feel anything. I don't think you went into any sort of a state. You feel the same as you did before we started. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was dreaming, but I didn't like it.
Okay. So
I wanted to wake up.
you went into a dream and now you woke up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think because I had a coffee.
It's possible. Coffee's not a great thing. Did you, when I tried to talk you into the hypnotic state, did you feel anything different, or did you just feel like...
I did. At one point, I felt like my eyes were closed, and I didn't want to let go of reality. You know.
Okay.
I didn't want to fall asleep. I didn't feel like sleeping right now, basically.
Okay.
So I wanted to open my eyes, but I felt like I couldn't open my eyes.
Okay.
I felt like I was suddenly in that losing control state.
And
then you were telling me to dream, so I was like daydreaming of performing.
Okay.
And I was fully aware, but then I decided I wanted to wake up.
Okay.
So I just woke up.
Okay. So maybe having a coffee, or it might be that you're also, and we can talk about this, you're experiencing a lot of stress in your life right now for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Although I was hoping that attempting to hypnotize you might help with some of that stress.
I think he would have done. I think if I could have stayed under for longer.
Okay. Okay. So,
but I wouldn't say a lot of stress. A lot of stress is too far. I would say mildly.
Okay.
Only like I'm teaching more. That's only why.
Okay.
Working a lot more.
So do you think if you hadn't had coffee, and maybe it's a little bit bright in here, normally I would recommend doing this in more of a dim room. You don't want the person to fall asleep, but you also want them to perhaps be a little bit more relaxed. So maybe the next time we'll try it somewhere else or in a slightly different setting, because it did seem, I couldn't tell, except that when I told you to dream, your eyes started to flicker like rapid eye movement, which is the sign of an actual dream versus someone who's not asleep and experiencing something. So I do think you are susceptible. We didn't get to go through the other things, but we'll do those maybe another time. If you think that you would be comfortable.
I wasn't scared, so it was. I wouldn't say it was unenjoyable. It was fun. It was good.
Okay.
But I just decided. I had subconscious. I was still conscious, and I made a decision. I didn't want to fall asleep.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I didn't want to be dreaming.
Right. Okay. Well, that's okay. So the next time, I think we can try it again. We could even bring in other people.
Who else can we hypnotize?
Oh, we know people. We can hypnotize the audience into liking us. Click, like, right down there at the bottom. Okay, so
Caddyshack.
Caddy time.
Caddy time.
Caddy time. So, what you don't know is that while you were under,
I was under.
I hypnotized you to wake up, and what you don't remember is all the things that you did. That didn't happen, but that can happen. So don't try this at home, but we will do this again. I think it would be worthwhile in a different setting.
This is part of our new format.
I did warn you not to have a coffee, to be honest. So let's talk about something else. I know you've had a wild week watching the news. Do you want to talk about the news? Yes.
Are you Can you be hypnotized yourself? Can a hypnotist be hypnotized?
So there's actually self-hypnosis. It's much like meditation for those of you that practice meditation. I've had people try to hypnotize you. So some of the things that correlate with being able to be hypnotized are people who are very creative and artistic, and it's kind of what you might expect. People who trust other people, and people with like attention deficit disorder are not very good hypnotic candidates because there is a certain amount of concentration, just like in meditation. You're a very creative person. You're a very trusting person. At least I think you trust me. So certainly the relationship between the person that's trying to, the hypnotist and the hypnotic person.
I think what you said about ADHD, like, links to the coffee thing. Like, if you have a coffee, you're like, it's go time. That's why I was thinking, I could still I could feel it working. I was going under, but then I was like, oh, the coffee, I just want to do stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to necessarily do it on drugs. So other things that correlate with it are people who can daydream, can let themselves go. It correlates with being an artist and being able to not have to live in this concrete, literal world, but to be able to live in sort of an altered reality. So you have some of those components. And in the future, we can explore it. And then in terms of self-hypnosis, just like meditation, what you try to do is you implant suggestions in your mind, specific things. There's also something called lucid dreaming. You're probably aware of that. I
actually think I have done that once or twice. It's hard to do. You can't force yourself to do it. You either do it or you don't. But I've definitely had, I think most people have dreams where they feel like they're floating around, or everyone has that dream where you wake up and you go, because you're falling down a well, you're falling off a mountain or something. You just feel yourself falling, and then suddenly you jolt upright.
That's not exactly what lucid dreaming is.
No, but then lucid dreaming is where you feel like it's an out of body experience, right?
Well, not necessarily. Lucid dreaming refers to being able to program your dreams and to control what you dream about, and to use that, again, like meditation or hypnosis, to perhaps reprogram things in your life.
And you can do that?
Well, you can't do it immediately. There's a program. I believe there's a movie coming out. I can't give the specifics, or maybe there's a series about lucid dreaming.
But he is in the movie.
Yeah. But what you do is you start, and I haven't studied this for a long time, so there's certainly people who know more about this than I do, but you start by doing a dream journal. And you keep track of your dreams every night and every day, and you look for commonalities, and then you start to, it's just like any plan that you want to enact. You think about things that you would like to dream about, and you program that in throughout the day, and so that at night, it's like, oftentimes you'll have dreams. You just had one that's very similar to your real life, where you were playing, at a place that you play every week.
Yeah, I've been playing there for nearly a year now, I think, or 9 or 10 months, something like that. And they've offered us another day, Tuesday nights, but our singer isn't available. So if I take the extra night, it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday, but Tuesday I would have to sing. I would have to sing the whole hour. And originally, when I was given the option, I said no, but I've changed my mind. I think we should do it.
And you'll never dream again.
And then you'll never, because I'll be doing it.
Stressed out. You'll certainly never dream about doing that again.
No, I'm not that stressed. I don't feel that
That's
stressed.
good.
I'm just working a lot these 2 weeks teaching. I got my work visa. If you watched episode 2, you know that I went to Laos and I got my work visa to teach. But when I got back, I mean, they told me at the school I work at, they told me they were going to get me to do around 20 hours. But that first week I did just over 30, and then this week again I've done about 30. So, I mean, it's not even full time, but I do other stuff as well as that.
Well, you're multifaceted.
I'm performing and I'm doing
megastar. I mean, you've got a podcast, several podcasts.
I'm doing this
I can't
podcast,
even count how many podcasts you have.
Which brings me to my next topic. I know I do want to talk about lucid dreaming a bit, but I mean, you kind of covered it and you know more than me. But I wanted to talk about side hustles, because working as I do as a digital nomad, you have all these side hustles. You've got YouTube channels, we've got this podcast. I want to do my own podcast to talk about stuff. But anyway, we'll come to the side hustles. You asked me about politics. I don't think it's good to get carried away in politics, and we certainly didn't want to talk about politics on this podcast. But
where does it show that the podcast is being recorded?
Just here, look, 21:11, 21:12. It's ticking over. So time's ticking, but I didn't want to talk about politics too much, but right. I listen to podcasts, which is why I started deciding I wanted to do a podcast, started to decide to do one. And in the podcast that you listen to, a lot of them will talk about, because American politics right now it's huge.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's just one thing after another. You got the presidential debate, which was nuts. Then there was this assassination attempt. Then you've got Biden stepping down and Kamala Harris giving a big speech where everything she said is after everything she says. And then you've got, it's just constant, isn't it?
It's the constant. Reds versus the Blues for the world.
Who's going to win?
The world's at stake, or at least the United States is at stake. It is crazy. And what I find interesting, here's a little Thailand and world expat type lesson. I find that many times the people in Europe or in Thailand or other places of the world know as much or more about American politics as Americans do.
You don't like to get caught up in that world.
Well, when Trump was the president, I couldn't turn the TV off because every day there was something being done that threatened my sense of intelligence. But before that, I was quite content to let politics and politicians, even the Bushes, George Bush, just run the country and everything was okay. So
they're running it into the ground.
But there are there are a lot of people in America. We call them Americans that try to distance themselves from politics. But
in England too. In England too.
I'm sure in every country. And so I don't think we need to go on about the debate of how involved does every person need to be, but especially with the internet and with umpteen news outlets and the right and the left and the middle and the crazies. And we all need to be aware, and we all need to decide what's a comfortable amount of information, and obviously which side are we on. But yeah, we have a lot of extremists on both sides, and right now America, it's like a movie. It's like a Hollywood movie right now between assassination attempts and just people.
Then of course I watched Biden's he stepped down and he gave that speech, and then all the comments are saying it's AI. I don't even believe that he's really giving the speech. I think they're joking.
I think he would have done a much better job if it was AI. I mean, why can't Morgan Freeman be president?
But it is like a movie, and I could see that he was sad. I mean, the guy's 81. He's had a good run, wouldn't you say? But I did still feel sorry for him. I mean, he's stepping down.
Good enough. He was the president of the United States.
He did well. And then, he's like, look, folks, I did my best, but I got to step down. I got to let younger people come in. I've tried my best. Take a cruise, dude.
Smoke some weed.
Relax.
Have a cup of coffee.
Look, folks, it's going to be fine. I'm going to relax. I've worked hard enough. Look, America's going to do fine.
So we promise. If we do, we're both practicing our Kamala Harris imitations.
That's the next one we need to work on.
And J.D. Vance, whoever that person is. And then who's going to be the vice president? That's for next time. But if we do talk about politics, we're going to try to do it in a lighthearted comedic way. We'll do some impressions.
I'm going to try and take a break from politics. I don't normally get invested with the news and the politics.
Okay, ready, go. Let's see.
No more politics
at this
for me.
time next week. Let's see if there's any political.
But the trouble is, I opened TikTok because I'm posting on TikTok. I want to get, one of my goals is,
You're a TikTok.
we talk about side hustles. You know, I want to get all of my apps monetized. You know, all the social medias. That's what you do. You try and get your YouTube content up, and then you try and get your TikTok monetized. But you need 10,000 followers. I have 7, and then once I get to 10, you know, but you just keep following and then keep posting.
You got 7,000 followers?
Yeah, but a lot of it is cheating.
Or
you
7.
Know? No, 7,000. But you got to keep pumping out the content, and the content's got to be good. Anyway, when I opened the TikTok app, I used to scroll up, and it's like musicians on Americans Got Talent, America. Then it's Britain's Got Talent. You know, and I like watching that. And it's singers, and it's pianists, and it's musicians. And then now it's just Trump. Then it's Kamala Harris, and I'm like, but I'm not even watching politics on TikTok. Why are they giving me all this?
Because you're talking about it on your phone.
You think so? You think your phone listens to you?
Of course your
Fuck,
phone.
I think it does. And
Of
people
course
say that
your
it does.
phone listens to you.
Right, we all know this, but where was the waiver that we signed when we bought a smartphone? You know, we all say this.
It's in the fine print that you glossed over. You just went over, of course. Yeah.
They do that. But,
Every
but
day.
It was only a few years ago, my mom and someone else and other people in my family, close friendship group, you know, people in my circle said, your phone's listening to you. And I went, no, ha, ha, ha. Of course it isn't. I thought it was like a conspiracy theory. And now we just accept it as fact. But I don't think.
And my computer is listening, not just my phone. I was talking to my wife the other day about geckos,
Grab a water.
and we needed to get rid of a gecko from our house. And the next thing I knew is when I opened my computer again, there was a link to an article about geckos. That's not random. So everything is listening to you.
70 baht, I get a whole crate of water once
I
a
think
week.
you covered water in episode 1. I would like to talk about coffee.
Oh,
I don't know if we mentioned coffee in Thailand, but many of you, eventually, when there are many of you watching this, are coffee lovers. And Thailand, and especially the north of Thailand, is a great place to enjoy.
it's
and
not
cherish
if, by the way, it's when.
coffee.
People are going to tune in.
Are they?
We're going to be huge.
Are they?
We've never seen
I
numbers
think if
like
we get
this.
this hypnosis podcast going more. So I
You
would
think
like
you
to
want
just,
to you hypnotize me every week?
I would like to talk about coffee. I'm now, and I quit coffee for a while, as some people do, on and off again. But I would like to put a plug in there for the coffee in northern Thailand. It's delicious. It's ubiquitous, which means it's everywhere.
It's nutritious.
It's inexpensive. You can get a cup of hot coffee in the morning, including a cappuccino, for $1 from the espresso machine. Ground coffee, freshly brewed, not instant. And the other thing is the coffee shops. I would guess there are 1,000 coffee shops.
Don't play it cheap. There's at least 10,000.
There might be more. But what's also unique is that they have coffee house destinations. So that's a cool thing about Thailand, is not only the ambiance around restaurants, but even what I like to call destination coffee shops. We went to one.
They're amazing.
It was a Japanese tea garden.
There's another one I haven't taken. You might have been, but with the white Samoy husky dogs, there's like 3 of them.
No, I haven't seen that. There's one north of here where they have built like a Disney type park with its own beach on a lake. So if you're a coffee lover and you're thinking about where you should go, northern Thailand is coffee paradise.
Coffee heaven.
All kinds of coffee, all different types of Robusta and Arabica, whatever that
Great
is.
for dating as well. If you want to go out to coffee shops on dates, there's coffee shops everywhere, and they're all different.
And what would you do on a date after you're both wired on coffee? Go dancing.
You'd have to just walk it off. You'd have to hike.
So
Were you making a rude joke?
no,
That we don't have that kind of smut on our podcast, Jeff.
not yet.
Get out of here.
But if we want
And don't
more
come
viewers.
back,
So
man.
because I thought Dan would be hypnotized for at least 45 minutes, I didn't prepare a lot of other material. So I'm just going to go to my go-to.
We're out of material. Quite frankly, we're out.
Coffee.
I got to stop doing Trump. I think when I drink coffee, I turn into Trump. That's a problem.
Well,
I'm running for president.
We will start to do some other impressions. Before we did the hypnosis thing, I was going to do Liam Neeson saying, I have a special set of skills. Hey,
That doesn't sound like Neeson.
You do it.
You got to work on that.
Well, I didn't.
I have a very specific set of skills. Specific. I have a Pacific Ocean of skills.
Yeah, I can't see that.
That'll make me adept at finding people like you. I will find you, and I will kill you.
I will hypnotize
you. Yes.
Okay. So we've.
And now Clint Eastwood.
A few other things.
Are you ready? Can you do Clint Eastwood?
I'm
waiting for you.
I think I can, but I haven't practiced it.
It's very similar to Liam Neeson. It's just a whisper, except it's a bit more. It's what does he say? Now I know what you're wondering. Did I fire 6 shots or 5? Well, I guess you got to ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Well, do you?
I think he says,
punk.
To be honest.
To be honest.
All the excitement.
I kind of forgot how many.
I kind of forgot myself.
I'm Batman.
Okay.
All right, we're done.
Well, yeah, that's the impression segment. We are.
That does your throat in that one.
A lot of those impressions do, and that's a problem. Like when I did Arnold.
Right. Except your Arnold sounded like he worked in a French bakery.
No, you did a French Arnold.
Oh, my one's
My
French.
Arnold is like this. It's like a wonder. I don't know. What's wrong with these guys?
I think your Arnold is the funniest impression of all your impressions.
Okay. So we are auditioning other segments to add to the show, and I have suggested, and we'd love feedback on this from the 1 or 2 people who might listen to this. Although maybe some of your 7,000 viewers on, can you?
Should we post this on TikTok?
Well, can you post this? Isn't it too long?
What's great about Riverside, and this is a plug, even though I'm not even paying for this software yet, and it's our first time using Riverside. But what's great about Riverside that I've noticed is it gives you shorts, Jeff. What is a short?
Well, I'm wearing shorts.
No. It gives you these short little videos for social media, and it gives you the transcript. And it gives you the transcript in real time as you're speaking in text, which is great because all of the videos now use that. They show you the words while they show you the subtitles.
Subtitles, right?
In case you don't speak English, which some people don't. But who doesn't speak English anymore? Anyway, never mind. So it gives you the shorts, and then you can post those to your socials.
And we can use it to
lure people
much like
in.
Fishing.
Much
I know
like
you love fishing. We're trying to lure people in, and I think the segments are the key because nobody really wants to listen to this whole thing.
Got a big one.
I don't even want to listen to this whole thing.
Come
on.
I
think let's take the best segments. Are we allowed to choose the segments? Because I think
it will just cut out bits, and it will choose the best bits for you.
How does it know?
I don't know. AI. You tell me. AI is listening to us right now and telling us whether we're
a friend
funny.
of mine, a former Hollywood scriptwriter,
works in AI.
He wanted us to do our podcast. He wanted us to use AI to generate our script for the podcast, which sounds okay. It might be interesting, more interesting and funnier, but then we'd have to read it, and we don't want to do that.
Well, I know you don't read. Not that you can't read.
I went
you
to
just
the
hate reading.
Trump Institute of Reading. Yeah.
I always say to you, have you read this book? And you say, no, I haven't read in years.
No.
You haven't read a book since when?
There's no need to read.
I disagree with that.
With your texts.
When did you last read a book?
Before the turn of the millennia.
I don't understand that because books are amazing and there's so much.
In what way?
There's so much you can learn from reading a book.
Tell me something you've learned from reading a book that I don't know.
Well, for example, I'm
young.
just over halfway through Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits, which is an investment book, and I just started reading another one called Smart Investing for Smart People or some kind of crazy name like that. But I've done.
You didn't even read the title.
I'm going to start reading that one too. That's another good one. That's a more modern one. So the Common Stocks is like 70 years old, but one of the highest reviewed investment books of all time.
And still applicable.
And still applicable.
Wow.
It just says it's got 15 points of how to pick stocks.
Okay. Can I just read those 15 points?
You can get the summaries. There's even an app now that will give you book summaries.
Right. Okay.
Save you much time. Save you so much time.
And much like podcasts, this wouldn't be.
This is the problem with your generation. It's all about quick. Give me the snappy. Give me the headline. You don't really want to read, but you're quite happy to read Yahoo News, aren't you?
How much time do I have left to read?
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
Yeah. But you'll read Yahoo
Give me the
News.
snippets.
You'll read Yahoo News. You'll read stuff on your laptop.
Yes. Okay. Sure.
But you just don't read.
Okay.
Yeah, reading. It's all reading.
I would love to read novels, but I watch movies.
When I say read a book, it doesn't have to be fiction. You know they make these non-fiction books where you can learn things. Anyway,
Wow.
it doesn't.
Is that new?
You can get the you can get the summaries. You can use AI to give you summaries of books. I've done that. It's actually great. You just get the point, and then you decide, do I actually need to read this book now? And if the answer is yes, then they've made us. This is the problem now. If you're a writer, you need to appeal to an audience who can just get a summary of anything you've written in 2 seconds. And if they decide that there isn't any extra value in that book, now that they've got the main point, they won't read it. They won't buy it. So it's much harder to sell a book now than it was.
How long does it take to read a book?
Depends how fast you read.
Well, let me.
If I'm not teaching that day, I could read a whole book, but I'm teaching every day at the moment.
Okay, so it takes you a day to read a book.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Right. If you put in a 9 to 5 one day, you'd read a whole book.
Okay, so I'm not proud of the fact that I don't read. Obviously, I do read. I don't read books much or at all.
I'm not putting you down.
I know you're not. I'm just telling you that some people. I did read books. I went to school and university and graduate school, and after graduate school,
What did you study at uni?
I don't think I'm going to read anymore.
What was your degree?
Hypnosis.
No, your degree was in business, right?
My degree was in industrial psychology.
Industrial psychology.
Is the business side of psychology, the psychology of business and work.
So you should be a millionaire, really, with that kind of credential.
I would have been if I had read that book about investing.
Why did you decide?
It all on not reading.
You graduated and you decide I'm not going to read anymore after you finished university.
It put a damper on my desire to read.
What did?
Textbooks.
Studying.
Being in graduate school.
Right.
Yeah. And also I'm not the kind of person that I like to be active. Even watching a movie is too much time for me to sit in one place. I like to be moving around. I don't have attention deficit disorder, so I have the capacity to read. I have read. I get it. No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But I still think, regardless, you're a smart guy. So you've proven to me that I never need to read a book again.
Oh, my work is done here.
Yeah.
That was the suggestion I gave you while you're under.
Oh,
stop reading.
No, I've chosen to read, and you've chosen not to read. It's a personal choice.
Yeah.
But I can just give you the bullet points.
Well, you're young. When I was your age, I still read.
Young meets old.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens when I get to 40? I'm just going to stop reading?
No, I have many friends that are my age and older that love to read, and many people read to fall asleep. I don't need that. I sleep. Let's talk about how we sleep. I sleep like a baby.
Because you've always hypnotized yourself.
Yeah, because I lucid dream.
Hang on, the battery's going to die on the MacBook unless I plug it in. So
okay, let's plug that in.
Let's plug. You keep talking.
I'll just continue talking.
Entertain the people.
So we're going to talk about. I think this is the young meets old segment where let's talk about how we sleep. Let's face it, that is the thing that we do the most during the day. If you don't count just being awake, so we spend, if you're lucky, 8 hours or more sleeping each day. And so
some facts may be lies.
This is an important thing, is how you sleep. And really, this is sort of related to the segment on lucid dreaming. You should think about how you sleep. You should program how you sleep. You should have a comfortable bed and pillow. These are, of course, quite obvious. But thinking about how you sleep and what keeps you up and why maybe some people don't sleep well. How do you sleep, Dan? How long does it take you to fall asleep?
It really depends on how much coffee I drank that day, and if I drank a coffee too late in the day, which in the last month or two, I've really fixed that. I don't do that anymore.
So you just had a coffee at 4:00 in the afternoon?
But I wouldn't have one at 7.
Okay.
Because that would be too late.
Okay.
I used to stay up late typing away, working on this website, doing the articles. I'm not doing that anymore. I am putting the articles on Substack to get a new readership. That's an app for reading. If you haven't checked it out, I like it. They found a lot of great articles on there so I'm uploading my stuff on Substack, but also reading interesting stuff on there. Okay, and then
and how long do you sleep for? What time do you go to bed, and how long do you sleep for? I'm sorry, I'm poking you, but that's
keep poking me.
I can keep
see where it gets you. I tend to sleep around 11 or 12, normally around 12, and I get up. Well, this past 2 weeks I've been getting up at 8, so I've been sleeping for around 8 hours, midnight to 8. I think I sleep pretty well.
Okay.
My bed is a bit too hard, and Florence's bed, I'm dating a woman.
That's good.
It's great. When I sleep in her bed's kind of soft. I haven't
like a
decided.
Goldilocks thing.
It's a Goldilocks thing. Yeah. I haven't decided which one I like best. Because I get some back problems in the morning.
From the soft bed or the hard bed or both?
Both. And I can't figure out if it's just a me problem. So I think it's because I'm a side sleeper. This is the problem. I'm trying to change to be a back sleeper, but it's very difficult. I have managed to get to the point now where I can fall asleep on my back. So that's progress.
Do you snore?
I don't snore. I don't snore.
Most people, when they sleep on their back, they snore.
Maybe I do when I sleep on my back, but I haven't managed to sleep a full night on my back yet.
Yeah.
I'll start moving, and then I guess I can sleep on my back for like an hour, but then I just automatically want to move.
And of course, now we have watches that can give us feedback on how we sleep.
I want one.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Me. I don't really need one, but yeah, that's another thing.
Because you
there's
sleep so well.
There's all this technology.
Right.
That can affect. So this is really a young meets old things. We didn't have this technology. We didn't even have books when I was young. So yeah, take advantage of technology.
Why do you sleep so well? Is it the bed or is it you?
Well, clear mind. That's a question I'm going to have to ponder. I don't know. I think just because I don't drink coffee, I don't have things that are going to necessarily keep me up at night. I do think having a clear mind and not being preoccupied, stress. I do wake up in the middle of the night quite frequently, and I might stress out about all the money I've lost and decisions I've made in my life.
Well, we all do that.
Now that I think about it, I sleep terribly.
We're only
yeah,
human.
we all do that, but we need to try not to do that.
Right. I'm just closing a few things here because the laptop seems to be struggling a little bit.
Okay, well, I think we're about to wrap up, are we?
What? We're wrapping up? 40 minutes in? You're done. You're calling it quits.
I got to go read. I'm way behind on my reading. Has it only been 40 minutes?
42 minutes.
Oh, I think we should go for 45.
We should do one of those things where we talk. No, where we listen to a song. You said you want to listen to a song that we haven't listened to, and then.
Can we pause this?
No, there's no pausing. But we can listen to it on our phones, and then it will play straight into the mic. But what about copyright infringement?
I don't know. So I've been watching these, maybe, but they show the video. I think the artists, maybe if we get sued, that'll just get us more viewership. I've been watching this series of reactions where I pick an artist that I know, and I watch people that don't know that artist watch a video and listen to the song for the first time and see what they think about it.
I like that.
And I think it's fascinating. Especially if it's an artist you like or you know, or if it's an artist you've never heard of. There's a lot of music that I have never heard of, and like rap and hip hop. That's hypnotism music that causes you to go into a trance.
Trip hop.
There is trance.
So
do you have a song in mind?
I was just thinking, I like the rock band Tool.
Okay.
Have you ever listened to them?
I've heard them, but I couldn't name a song by Tool.
They wouldn't sue us. They're all nice people. Let's see. Let's listen to just like the first 15 seconds.
Oh no, we have to listen to the whole. At least the first. Yeah, what do you call it? The first part up to.
I'm just concerned if I play a song by Tool now, they'll take down the whole podcast, and it's the hours wasted unless we edit it out, maybe.
Yeah, well, we can edit it, but
what about if I put on a really old song?
But how are these other? Do you think they're asking permission from the artists to?
It's all about which box you tick and what you write in that box, and you say I give up all the rights or whatever you do. I don't know how they do it.
Because the things that I'm watching, that they're embedding a little window of the video. If there's a video for the song, and they're playing that video, and they're giving the artist credit, but I don't know if there's some legal
copyright. That's what I'm worried about. Can I play a song on my podcast?
So now we're just doing things in real time that we should have done before.
Podcast music doesn't need to be licensed unless you are the musician and own all rights to the original work. You will need to obtain a podcast music license for any music that plays during your podcast. This includes intro, background, outro.
Well, that's not going to happen now. So we'll learn more about this, but we do think that this reaction thing has legs.
Okay, but what about an old jazz song that's copyright free?
Yeah.
Because you won't have heard that, but I probably have.
Chet Baker? Anything by Chet Baker? Do you know Chet Baker?
Let's
He's
look
a
it up.
trumpeter. He's a trumpet player.
Oh, here we go. Free jazz music archive.
Is there anything by Moses or Jesus Christ? That's probably not.
This is
Jesus
all
Christ Superstar.
copyright free. I've never heard of any of these songs.
Well, that'd be new.
Which jazz musicians are copyright free? See,
Fascinating stuff. Here.
fascinating stuff. I think
I
that
should be talking while he's.
you should talk about the fact
scrolling.
that, do you like jazz?
I am not a big jazz fan,
I did a degree in jazz.
and yet I like you. So this would be an interesting. So this is also, I think, part of the Young Meets Old, because I'm convinced that I know about a ton of music, especially from America, but a lot of the music I like is from Britain, and you don't really know it. You know all about jazz. I'm sure you would find some things that I would love to listen to, and our viewers would like to listen to. So in future episodes, we're going to be dedicating a segment of the show to our reactions. We'll listen to a song or half a song, because it's really hard to listen to a whole song. And then we'll both react to it and discuss. And hopefully this will also generate some comments from the audience. I'm pretty sure an Elvis Costello will not sue us. But yeah, what do you got?
Duke Ellington,
Duke
Louisiana.
Okay, let's hear it.
This
Duke
is
Ellington,
royalty
Louisiana.
free. This is early jazz.
Before they had instruments. So this reminds me about a bit of going to the dentist.
Can't talk, I'm hypnotized. I'm loving every second. This is Duke Ellington, Louisiana. Can't see the name of the singer, but
It's a woman.
right.
It's probably
Hang on, if
Ella Fitzgerald. No, she's not that old.
it's Ma Rainey.
Ma Rainey.
Booze and blues.
So
Loving that booze, loving that blues. They go
Let's-
together like two.
gin and tonic.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
you're
do-
not a big fan of that. I can tell.
Do you like that?
This isn't my favorite type of. This is really early jazz.
Yes. Right.
I'll listen to some Duke Ellington, but I prefer the big band, the orchestra. I don't tend to listen to jazz. I tend to listen to piano players, Oscar Peterson, and then I've got a vocal jazz playlist which I listen to, but it's got like Frank Sinatra and then some modern stuff. And you mentioned Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan. There's so many, but yeah, I'm a jazz person. That doesn't mean I don't like rock, folk, and loads of other stuff.
Sure.
Like we connected over the fact that I like what's his name, the little short guy in his 80s,
Paul Simon.
Paul Simon, yeah. I like Paul Simon. I went back and listened to most of his albums from the start, from like whenever he started in the 60s.
Yes.
And I like a lot of his. I put a lot of his best songs in a playlist.
When I was in high school driving to school, we had 8-track tape players. This is the Young Meets Old. You don't even know what that is. And I would listen to 8-tracks of Paul Simon and the Beach Boys and Cat Stevens.
I like the
Do
Beach
you know
Boys.
any Cat
I
Stevens?
like Cat Stevens.
So these are the classics of when I was growing up and greatly influenced my musical appreciation. And someday in future episodes, I'll talk about my favorite, Elvis Costello, and how I came to love him. But I wanted to talk to you about that song that we just heard. In what setting would that be the appropriate song, do you think, to play?
In a school, when I'm teaching as a music teacher and I'm teaching them about the roots of jazz and blues,
Okay.
the very early days, the first songs, because it's very old. But that's not to say I don't appreciate that. Like because I'm a piano player, I'll appreciate Scott Joplin, the ragtime.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I do. I know ragtime I appreciate. Great movie, by the way. I believe that's The Sting.
That's the entertainer.
That's the entertainer.
Right.
For the movies, The Sting.
But you like folk,
I love folk and rock and alt rock and
indie.
a lot of indie, yeah, and we'll get into this. And I'm definitely going to be able to find some stuff that you don't know.
That's public domain or copyright free.
No, we're going to get around this.
We're going to get around that lawsuit. Okay.
Some way.
We're going to not go to prison.
No, somehow these people are doing it. All we have to do is research.
Figure out what it is.
You're definitely going to find some stuff because there's many types of music that I have heard people, but I don't know. I couldn't.
It's going to be dubstep next week. Dubstep.
Yeah, I do like dub. I do like dub. So exciting things coming, but first we have to figure out how to hypnotize Dan.
Well, you did manage it for about 12 seconds.
Yeah. Why blame the coffee?
I blamed the aircon because I could hear it.
Okay.
While you were talking to me, I could hear the noise. I was trying to block it out.
Yeah. We'll pick a better setting. Okay. So with that, we've covered a lot.
Covered a lot.
It's amazing.
Mainly politics.
Not
reading.
Just
kidding.
From books to music to hypnosis to politics
to AI.
This is Young Meets Old.
Coming to you live.
And we look forward to talking to you next week.
Next week? What's your schedule like? I'm not teaching as much.
I'm free.
I'm pretty free.
I just have 4 or 5 books to read.
I'm teaching a lot less.
Good.
So I'll be more free. I want to get this on Apple Podcasts as well because we're on
Spotify.
I signed us up for Streamer. No, that's not right. Spreaker. It's called Spreaker. It's a podcast player. We're on Spreaker, but I'm going to add the feed to Apple because apparently Apple is the biggest platform for podcasts. Did you know that? It's Apple and then Spotify.
I did not know that.
Well, we're going to be on Apple and Spotify and Spreaker and various other podcast platforms and YouTube.
Well, how can we go wrong?
We can't.
How can this not blow up?
It can't. It will.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
So next week we're going to have a book review section.
Right. Book club.
In which Dan will read a book and tell me about it.
Young Meets Old, the book club. Pay here to listen to us summarize books.
Soon to a podcast near you.
Why can't we live stream direct to the cinema? So people who are sitting in the cinema, they can click a button. Instead of watching boring ads for Coca-Cola, it'll be just us.
Let's all go to the lobby. That's an old song.
Jazz hands.
Old meets young.
See you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
It's me, Dan, and it's
Jeff saying, read a book.